welcome to the Arts District Podcast. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Georgia.
And it's our 20th show.
Yay!
And it's December 20th, like 2020.
I didn't even think of that. Nice.
Yeah, it worked out perfectly. So Saturday afternoon, we are in Aurelia right now. Both of us are home for doing a little bit of Christmas activity.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just going to be a short episode today because we know you guys are probably busy with family things, as are we. So short and sweet.
Yes.
So, 20 weeks of podcasting.
Yeah.
We started in July, I think.
Mm-hmm.
July?
And then we decided we were going to do the podcast. And then the
next day
we were filming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm surprised we're still doing it, but I'm proud of us. I think it's the longest I've ever stuck with something like this.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely given me motivation in other parts of my life, so it's been good.
Yeah.
If you've been watching since episode 1, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's cool that it's the point where it would feel weird to not do the podcast.
Or I feel guilty if we don't.
Yeah.
Even if my notes are kind of crummy, I'm like, I'm letting you down so many people, you know, it's really just like 10 or not even.
Yeah. Our adoring fans.
Yeah. So I've got a Christmas dinner to go to tonight and tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta do some Christmas baking.
Yeah, me too.
But I really want to watch a movie too, a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm. I keep trying to get my family to watch Robbie the Reindeer.
I've never seen that.
Oh, it's so funny. It's like this British claymation, and Robbie is Rudolph's son, and he can't live up to his father's.
Right. I feel like we talked about this last week, and I was like, is that Rudolph's brother or something? And you were like, no, it's the son.
Anyway, I'm still trying to get my family to watch it. We will watch it.
Yeah.
It's
so sneak funny. It on there. And
yeah. It's only half an hour long, and it's got so many adult jokes that it's...
That's the best part about those old movies is they're so short, so you can watch 10 of them one night.
Yeah, and it's not even... I guess it is kind of old. It's from 1999 or something.
It's so funny. I was watching The Santa Claus on VHS 2 weeks ago, and I put it on, and the previews were for Pocahontas, and it was coming out 1996, and it was a big deal, 1996. But I was only 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That was just crazy. And then they show all these old previews. I'm so used to not watching previews now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at just time passing in general is mind-boggling. Because I was at Jack and Maddie's yesterday talking to Libby, and she was saying, I got the newest car I've ever had. It's a 2007. Isn't that new? And then we started thinking about it, and we're like, wow.
That was 7 years ago.
7 years ago.
I know, it doesn't... Anything in the 2000s doesn't seem like that long ago. But then you think, the millennium was
15 years ago. Yeah.
Coming up 15 years.
So weird.
Y2K bug and everyone freaking out.
Yeah. We were just children.
My car's in 1999. It's only 9 years younger than me.
That's amazing.
It's going to be 20 soon. Isn't that crazy?
That's wild.
That's
still going.
Yeah, it's great. Anyways, all right. So let's get to it. I just have something really short to talk about today. Just kind of a thing that I found on Facebook via one of my old professors, and it's about trends in music, song titles from the 1890s to now, and just popular words that are used in the different decades. So it's interesting.
Cool.
Yeah. What about you?
I just want to talk about a new YouTube channel. Well, it's not super new, but newish. It's arts related.
Cool. Okay, I'll just breeze through this really quickly. So like I said, I found it on Facebook. One of my old professors had posted it, and I was like, that's interesting. So I started reading it, and I got it from this website called proofreader.com, but the original data actually comes from another website called bullfrogspond.com, and it's just a music database of songs for decades and decades, just full of information. And what this was, it was Billboard charting songs from the 1890s, which is crazy that Billboards have been charting songs for that long, or they went that far back, to now, and what's popular in the titles throughout the decades. So in the 2010s, there was a lot of song titles that used the words we, yeah, hell, die, and a lot of profanity, like the F word and stuff. In the 2000s, so like 2000s, I think like, well, I want to say Britney Spears, but she came out in the late 90s.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
Who was out in 2000s?
I don't know. Did we
Destiny's Child?
Yeah, Destiny's Child. We start getting into like
And
Headley and...
Yeah. Billy Talent.
Yeah.
So you had words like you, just the letter U, not the actual word. Like,
oh my gosh,
breathe, it, and yeah, which is very basic. Going back into the 1990s, so like 1990s, I guess, grunge, alternative rock, moving into pop music. We had you, again, just the letter U, but also the word you. So that's, I guess, they're moving up into actually spelling out words. Up, get, and thang.
Thang. Really popular.
Thang, I guess maybe when like Shaggy came out. Was that in the 1990s? Shaggy?
I don't know.
Thang. And like Cisco. Do you remember Cisco?
Not really, but... Oh, okay, yes.
It was on like a compilation CD I had.
Oh, yeah.
I was actually talking about that with somebody at work the other day. We were talking about the first album we ever bought. And mine was Planet Pop 2000. So I was 10 years old. I bought it with my own money and I loved it. It came out with like a poster that folded out from the little booklet. And it was for like your locker, but I didn't have a locker because I was only 10. And yeah, I probably still have it around here somewhere, but I loved it. I would sit in the car with my Discman, just like replay.
Yeah.
Planet
I
Pop
definitely
2000.
had one of those Planet Pops as well. And the Big Shiny Tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Those weren't
sisters were more into Big Shiny Tunes and like now.
It's so funny because those were like the next generation mixtape, right? Like,
yeah.
Except you didn't make them yourself.
And nobody puts out like compilation records now. Like there's no like greatest hits of 2014, you know? Like
no. But you know what? There is like 8 tracks playlists and stuff.
But like get released and like sold in Walmart and stuff?
No, they don't get sold. But mixtapes didn't get sold either. I think that was like the Planet Pop Big Shiny Tunes was like a brief
that's weird.
when they could make money on those compilations.
Yeah, now people will just buy the individual songs on iTunes and stuff, I guess, and make their own compilation. But before we had all that, it makes me seem very like archaic.
Yeah. Well, I guess artists will put out an album that like features someone on every song.
Yeah, that's true. Like Santana.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true. Oh my gosh.
Featuring. Yeah, so just going back into this quickly, 80s was talking about love, fire, don't, rock, and O, if I wrote that right. Just O. 80s. Was that like Bon Jovi? Or no, like, I don't even know.
What was there like?
A little bit of Michael Jackson.
Jazzercise dance pop.
Yeah. 70s, woman, disco, rock, music, dancing. So like 70s, I think like California, Fleetwood Mac.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And the beginning of disco. 60s, baby, twist, little, twistin', lonely. So you can see how it changes quite drastically in each decade. And when you think back on that music, it totally like characterizes that time. Like as you go back, I'm not going to tell you what every decade was. You can read it for yourself. We'll put it up here. But as you go back into like the early 1900s, a lot of the common themes were family and first names, home, land. What else? Blues. Yeah. So like. I don't want to say like legitimate things, but like.
Well, I think they're reflecting like cultural.
Yeah, like people were.
What people were valuing.
Yeah, values. Yeah. That's what it is.
It'll be interesting what this decade will be.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of.
I think we're at that point where like we've kind of like it's climaxing, and now it's like we're on the downside now, and we're gonna be going back in. And seeing all these things coming up again.
Mm.
But yeah, so the title of that whole thing was Most Decade-Specific Words in Billboard Popular Song Titles from 1890 to 2014. So we'll put the link in so you can check it out for yourself. But I thought it was interesting. And
yeah, that's really cool. Actually, in one of my classes in my last year at university, one of my classmates did a project based using Billboard stuff where I think she like tiled the screen and had just light flashing at the... she compiled data to find what the most common, like rate of beats, you know?
yeah,
For each decade.
BPM, beats per minute, like
Yeah. Okay, so it was the most common like beats per minute for each
Right.
decade, I think, for like pop and country and I don't know what else, rock maybe.
Mhm.
And so there was like 3 for each decade, and it filled. She projected it in a room, and it filled the entire wall. It was just this massive pulsing thing. But you could definitely see. I think the top was like more recent, and the bottom was longer ago, and how like it's just gotten faster and faster and faster, and the whole thing was just this like pulsing.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Especially now with like EDM, like electronic dance music,
yeah,
and all these raging festivals. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can't. It's overwhelming. But
Yeah.
this before we move on, that the thing I was talking about, they show this graph where they chart out which decades like used those words, but where they were most popular. So that's how we figured out the characteristics for each decade. But so it's funny when you see like for the 1890s, like nobody wrote about like die, death, like that just like it didn't appear at all. Profanity didn't appear at all. So you can actually like see when these words started coming into music and becoming more popular within lyric themes. So it's interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, like it's
Were there events?
you
that,
can actually
like,
see the
triggered
change,
things
you
like
know,
that?
it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me more conscious of what I'm writing about, you know.
Yeah.
I was surprised that love didn't come up on there.
Yeah. I guess people don't like outright use that word.
Not in titles,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so. All right, what about you?
So, I just have notes on my phone today. I want to talk about PBS Digital Studios channel that they created. I really like how PBS has gotten into digital. Like, they have a couple YouTube channels where they've hired people that talk about what they know and stuff. But the art assignment is really good. It's hosted by Sarah, and I'm not sure what her last name is, but she's married to John Green. So I think of her as Sarah Green.
Sarah Green.
But she was a curator at the Indianapolis Museum of Art or Art Gallery, like a large gallery. But now this is what she's doing. She's doing the art assignment. And yeah, it's really great. They've done a bunch of sort of videos asking for participation. So they go to different artists, and the artists get to talk about their work, what's behind their work. It's all very contemporary.
Mm-hmm.
And then the artists pose a challenge to the viewers, and the viewers send their work in. I think one of the first ones was meet in the middle. So you work with someone else, and you find some way to show your journey to meet somewhere in the middle between where you currently are. So there were some big ones where like people lived on different continents and stuff and had to meet in the middle, like decide where the middle point is, and some where like someone lives around the corner and they meet, you know?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how people everywhere are participating in these assignments and choosing to document them or create something in different ways.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool. But then they also do some videos that are just purely educational. The most recent one that I was looking at, well, this isn't the most recent now, but they did a really good one on what is the curator, and they're talking about the role of the curator today, because that word gets thrown around a lot now. Like, people talk about how they curate their blog on Tumblr, you know?
Yeah.
So Sarah was talking about what the curator means to her, and how she sort of considers herself a curator of the art assignment, deciding how to present things and when to present what and stuff. Yeah, so it's a really great
Yeah.
channel. I've been enjoying it. I watched it when it first came out, and then it came back on my radar in the last couple weeks, and I've been watching it again and really enjoying it. So maybe I will participate to keep me active in my art stuff.
Yeah.
It's a really smart program, which I like.
That's cool.
There are some where John Green is in it as well, so she's playing sort of the intellectual and explaining the history and theory behind things, and he's sort of like the layman that she's explaining it to, which is good, and doesn't like pander to the audience or anything. It's still smart and answers questions without being dumb.
Yeah.
So,
nice.
yeah, it's really good.
That sounds really cool.
And if PBS wants to pick us up,
wouldn't that be happy? Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so check it out. Maybe I can put in like some of the video with a link to it.
Do it.
I'm getting pretty fancy with my abilities on
You
YouTube these
our
days.
cupcakes?
Yes, because of episode 20. 2 cupcakes. Oh, you blew out the candles. Okay, you blew out
Good luck with that.
Okay, that's what we animated to do.
All right, so I think that's about all we have.
Yeah, quick episode for 20.
For episode 20.
Yeah, and this is your Christmas episode.
Yeah.
We won't see you until after Christmas.
So enjoy the holidays and have a great time.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
And Happy New Year, but we'll see you before New Year.
Yes, so we'll say it again later.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye.